So we've done the best and worst weapons from Chapter 5 of Fortnite, and it got me thinking, why don't we just do the best and worst items of every single chapter? So since we started with Chapter 5, we'll just go backwards. So today's video is going to be the best weapons in all of Chapter 4 of Fortnite. This list was so hard to make. Chapter 4 had such a great weapon selection, and honestly, there are a few snubs that are going to get left out of this list that honestly probably should be here if I wanted to make the video 2 or 3 minutes longer. Those 3 items basically being the Slurp Juice, the Twin Mag SMG, and the Rocket Ram. They will not be on this list, but if I wanted to make the video like a minute longer, yeah, they would all be on here. If you went on to enjoy this video, be sure to leave it a like and use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop. With all that being said, let's get right into this. Alright, so you guys probably know the drill by now. We are going to start from Chapter 4 Season 1 and work our way up to Chapter 4 Season 4. I'm going to note right now, Chapter 4 Season OG will not be included on this list. Season OG was like basically its own chapter of Fortnite. It had its own entire loot pool, new map, all that stuff, so I'm going to exclude it from Chapter 4 because this list would probably be mostly Season OG weapons. With that being said, Chapter 4 Season 1 brought a ton of incredible weapons, one of those being the Shockwave Hammer. Look, it's not only one of just the best weapons of all time, it's one of the best mobility items, and so when you combine that together, yeah, you're going to get a top tier weapon. It's not just great in the scope of Chapter 4, it's great in Fortnite history. Again, the way that I like to think about it with the Shockwave Hammer, and I guess with most of the items on this list, is if you took them out of Chapter 4, put them in any other season, they would probably be the best weapon in that entire season. The Shockwave Hammer, whether you loved it or hated it, absolutely ran Chapter 4 Season 1. It ransacked the entire season. It was at a point where you almost had to have the Shockwave Hammer to win a game of Chapter 4. I don't really need to explain any more on the Shockwave Hammer. There's a reason why it was only in one season of Fortnite and taken out, and probably will never come back, so I hope you guys appreciated it in Chapter 4. And for the next weapon in Chapter 4 Season 1, I think some people will try and make the argument this is the best weapon of the entire chapter. It's the Thunder Shotgun. And while I don't necessarily agree with that statement, I do think that this is an incredible weapon and actually a really underrated shotgun. I think if you kind of think of just regular weapons and kind of ignore the Shockwave Hammer, I would say this was the best weapon of Chapter 4 Season 1. But it wasn't always like that. If you remember, you only used to be able to shoot 3 shots before you reloaded, and at that point, the Thunder Shotgun was not really the desired choice for a shotgun, but they changed it and made it so that you could shoot 4 before reloading, and yes, that one shot makes a huge difference. If you go back to like any competitive player's gameplay, if you watch anybody that was like half decent at this game in Chapter 4 Season 1, it was always the Twin Mag SMG and the Thunder Shotgun. But I do think that there is another competitor actually for the best shotgun in Chapter 4 Season 1, and that shotgun would be the Heisted Accelerant Shotgun, otherwise known as just the Exotic Maven. That's how I know it. And while I was not a fan whatsoever of the regular Maven shotgun, I was 10 out of 10 times Thunder over Maven, I will acknowledge that the Heisted Accelerant Shotgun is probably a top 5 shotgun ever. And I guess while I'm like kind of looking at my notes for this video, Chapter 4 was absolutely loaded with shotguns. If you don't know already, right, this weapon would speed up its fire rate every time you landed a pellet on somebody and would also speed up your movement speed. So especially in zero build, this was the go-to shotgun in Chapter 4 Season 1, right? Because if you think about it, no one can build, you're gonna land multiple shots in a row, and it got to a point where if you hit like 3 or 4 shots in a row without killing them, at that point you almost had a fully auto shotgun with like semi-auto shotgun damage, if that makes sense. Realistically though, I think if you put some of the other exotic heisted weapons from this season on here, I would be okay with that, but to me, this weapon stood out above all the other exotics. And alright, we have made it into Chapter 4 Season 2, and let me just tell you guys, buckle up because this is going to be a long section. Chapter 4 Season 2 had one of the most insane metas we've ever seen, and honestly might have the most stacked weapons ever in a particular Fortnite season. And I'm not even counting the enhanced drum shotgun or the Slurp Juice here. I mean, those are 2 weapons that absolutely could be here if you wanted to. But firstly, let's just get the elephant out of the room, right? Let's talk about the Havoc pump shotgun. In my opinion, it's the best shotgun that has ever graced the game of Fortnite. Yes, I think it's better than the OG pump. Yes, I think it's better than the Spaz. I think it's better than the Gatekeeper. I do believe it is the best shotgun that has ever touched this game. I mean, don't even get me started on the Mythic version. If you guys didn't know, there was a time when this could do 250 damage to the head. Yes, you could get 1 pumped in zero build. It was just so consistent, tight pellet spread for a pump shotgun. You were always going to do big boy damage. To me, I feel like I don't have to talk that long. You guys experienced it, or probably most of you did. It speaks for itself, right? This is a true GOAT of Fortnite. What about the Overclocked pulse pulse rifle though. I mean, you want to talk about just absolute busted weapons in Fortnite. This is the definition of that. I'll be honest with you guys, this thing is on like Brutus's minigun, like Midas's drum gun pre-nerf level. I mean, this thing was untouchable. I mentioned this in a previous video of mine. Like, this was one of the only weapons I've ever seen in Fortnite where like truly instills fear in you. Like, if someone tries to push your box with an overclocked pulse rifle, you better get out of there because you are going to be dead if they get anywhere close to you. But it wasn't just a hip fire with 39 base damage that you had to worry about. It was aim down sights too, because this thing had no bloom. It was infinite. You could shoot somebody 150, 200 meters away. As long as your crosshair was on them, you were going to hit them. Just what an incredible weapon. I know there were only a couple of them on the map at a time, so I guess they were meant to be strong, but I don't think they were meant to be this good. Again, in my opinion, this is a weapon that clearly has not come back for a reason. It was way too strong, way too broken. If they ever brought it back, it would cause so many problems. Yeah, I mean, I would consider this thing easily a top 3 assault rifle. If you wanted to put it at 1 over something like the Foundation's Mythic MK, I would totally understand. But what made the Chapter 4 Season 2 meta so crazy is not only did you have some of the best weapons that have ever graced this game, you also had some of the best mobility items. And one of those items is ODM Gear. No doubt this was going to be on this list. I'll keep it short and sweet because honestly, I feel like I've talked about ODM Gear so many times in the last week. The only way I can explain it is it just felt smooth to use. When I say smooth, I'm talking like Spider-Man web shooters level smooth, and there are people that I have talked to who say ODM Gear is their favorite mobility item they've ever used. Like, this item is absolutely beloved by the community. You also get that like slash attack where you like lock onto them and then you basically drag yourself towards them, hit them, and then you get the little shockwave effect when you're falling down. That's pretty cool, but I think most people really care about the mobility here. Yeah, I mean, what an item. Obviously, it was a collaboration item, so will we see it again? I'm not sure. But I think you could make the argument that the Kinetic Blade rivals ODM Gear. And I guess technically you could consider the mythic version from Chapter 4 Season 4 on this list, but that was taking up too many spots, so I just left it as 1, just the Kinetic Blade. And just when you thought that they ran out of ideas for mobility, they throw a samurai sword that you can dash in the air with. Again, like, yeah, you could use the melee ability, but when you had the best shotgun of all time in the meta, why would you ever use this thing at close range? I mean, I know I didn't. The only reason why I would use the Kinetic Blade is to just jump into people's boxes, right? Carry a Havoc shotgun and Kinetic Blade together. It is a dominant combo, one of the best combos. I mean, Chapter 4 Season 2 in its entirety is like a fever dream. I mean, you just had to be there to experience all this craziness. It was one of those things where I guess if you make every weapon overpowered, it's like balanced, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of crazy that they had this many broken, this many really insane items all in one season, but they did it. Also, specifically for the Kinetic Blade, they had multiple augments that you could pair with this thing that were designed for the Kinetic Blade, which made it even better. And I would actually argue that Chapter 4 Season 2 goes down as one of the best Fortnite seasons of all time, easily a top 10 for me. All right, now we are on to Chapter 4 Season 3, and if you know anything about me and this channel, I really despise Chapter 4 Season 3. I think it's one of the worst seasons we've ever gotten in Fortnite. I think it's up there with Chapter 2 Season 6. But there was one shining star in this season besides the Cybertron cannon. It was the Mammoth Pistol. This is a pistol that was almost doing 200 damage to the head. I think it was around 189 to 197, that area. I mean, I don't even know what to say. How is that even a thing? It just boggles my mind that they actually added a weapon that was this strong, particularly a pistol, out of anything. And I'll just say one thing. I was actually thinking about this the other day when I was thinking what I was going to rank as the best weapons in Chapter 4. Could you imagine if the Mammoth Pistol was moddable? Like, imagine being able to put a scope on that thing. I had a buddy who was unreal with this weapon, and it was a legitimate cheat code to have somebody that was good with this weapon on your team because it was literally a pocket shotgun, pocket sniper, whatever you wanted. You were in the box, just pull it out, boom, quick 90, quick 100. Again, though, this was a high skill weapon. It was high risk, high reward because one, you were using heavy bullets, which were not easy to come across, and also you only had one shot before you had to do a pretty decently long reload. But in terms of like high risk, high reward weapons we've ever seen, this absolutely stands at the top as the best. There is no doubt in my mind that the Mammoth Pistol is one of the best one season wonders of all time. I believe it came into Fortnite Reload. I don't play Reload a ton, but I believe it came back. So if you used it there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, just what a broken pistol. So insane. And finally, we have reached Chapter 4, Season 4. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I will not be going over Season OG. But I think there's a clear-cut winner here for the best weapon in Chapter 4, Season 4. It's the Twin Mag Assault Rifle. Again, as you've heard me say countless times in this video, it is not only one of the best weapons in Chapter 4, it's one of the best weapons of all time, one of the best assault rifles of all time. How many more times can I say of all time in this video? That is a good challenge. Regardless, though, this was the dominant weapon in Chapter 4, Season 4. Yes, you had the rocket ram. Obviously, I mentioned it earlier in the video as kind of a honorable mention, right? But in terms of like must-haves this season, it was the Twin Mag AR. And I'm telling you right now, they are doing something right with these Twin Mag weapons. First, the Twin Mag SMG, now the Twin Mag AR. The handling is just what makes this weapon stand out. So accurate, you had a great fire rate, very little recoil, and when people were always flying in the air with the rocket ram, you needed a weapon that you could be accurate with, and this was the go-to choice. If you would like to hear me talk more about the Twin Mag Assault Rifle and just some of the other best assault rifles in Fortnite history, go check out my video. I just did a ranking of the top 5 best. But yeah, again, to me, this was a no-doubter. This had to make this list. Well, alright guys, that was a little revisitation down memory lane for all of Chapter 4, some of the best weapons we had seen featured in this season. Again, guys, I could have made this video 30 minutes long and included 10 more weapons. Chapter 4 was just absolutely loaded with crazy guns. Crazy tactical pistol snub, I know. If you stay till the end, you know what I'm thinking. If you guys would like to see me revisit some of the worst weapons in Chapter 4, yeah, I will absolutely do that because there are a lot of them. If you went on to enjoy this video, be sure to leave it a like, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.